Hello, all you suicide warriors. Dan Pelly here, inspirational speaker, suicide warrior. The topic of this video is courage and what it's going to take to overcome depression. And I'm going to talk about my experience with having courage, losing courage, and regaining courage. And unfortunately, we lose people because everybody's built differently. And it's not because someone's weak. Has nothing to do with weakness. It's the sickness in our brain. Our brain health is suffering. And I don't like to call it mental health. Mental is a stigma. But brain health can suffer from depression, clinical depression, bipolar, manic episodes, anxiety, paranoia. All of it can plague somebody, whether it's a little bit or a lot. And I know a lot of people can relate. But the victims, they're not cowards. They courageously fought the battle. And when we get to the point where we want to end our life, and I've been there twice, it's a dark moment that you never want to be at. It's dark and it's nasty and it's just ruined you and it breaks you. And it has broken a lot of people that where they've taken their life. Over 50,000 people in America kill themselves. Over 1 million worldwide. You know, we lose a lot of hope in this world. You know, a lot of things that are going on and just the evilness. But we can't give up hope and the goodness in my hope video that I did. And that the goodness will prevail even over cultural rot that's going on. And the nastiness that's happening. We got to fight back. We have to stand up with commitment and say, no, 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 no. No, 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 I'm going for the good. But the bad can ruin people, and it can crush people and the victims. But I want to read this shirt to you because I bought the shirt online, and you see it all the time. They do a lot of messages, and I get my printing done from a different company, U Printing. They're very good people and giving me exactly what I want when I'm doing a topic. But anyway, the shirt reads, "Suicide victims are not weak, selfish, or cowards. They are fathers, mothers, and sons, daughters, husbands, wives, and brothers, sisters, cousins, grandchildren, who are in pain and are missed and loved every day. Choose your words carefully. Please don't judge what you cannot possibly understand. Time to change, raise awareness, not stigma." Stigma is a big problem still. People don't want to see it. They don't want to, they're like, no, I don't want to look at suicide. It's so devastating. We don't want to see it, but we have to look. We have to look at our loved ones. We have to say, hey, you okay? You got to go up to somebody that you know, your friends, your family. Are you okay? Everything okay? You haven't been coming out. You've been in bed, or, you're not, activity anymore. You're not doing any activity. What's going on with you? You're not thinking about taking your life, are you? I know you've been really down. I mean, I've asked people directly. And then they open up to you, and I can start talking to them. Not that I've saved everybody, but I've saved a lot of people. I've helped a lot of people choose life that have come back to me and said, thank you for helping me, Dan. And I'm not boasting. This is my mission now, to help people. I do real estate still. I'm a real estate broker in 4 states. I make a living. It's not about money, what I'm doing here. I'm selling life. It ain't costing you anything. Although I co-authored a book just recently, first time writing, and it's about self-worth, and it was with 7 other authors, and Mary is someone that interviewed me, and she asked me to do it, and she does the podcast Dare to Be Authentic, and I've been putting it up, Feeling Worthy. You can find me on Venmo, and you can purchase it. Each author, the 7 authors that have all told their story about worthiness and self-worth, and it's a great book. It's not very big, but it's powerful. It's a powerful book about feeling worthy. And any money that I do get from it helps me sponsor, promote my videos. I'm not making $1 million, but everything helps. I self-fund. I put a lot of my own money into this, and just so I can sponsor on all the social sites and get the word out that, choose life. But you can get on my Venmo, Dan Pelly, Suicide Warrior. You can find me on Venmo, and you can purchase, and free shipping. Leave your address, and I'll send you the book. And it's good about self-worth, and I'm in it, obviously, and about self-worth. And you'll see me in the second chapter of the book. I think I'm in, and I think I was right there. And I give my take on self-worth because I became worthless at one time in my life. I felt worthless. And we can all lose our self-worth, and to the point where we just think we're not worthy to live. And we never want to go there, because, we have a weak self, we have a strong self. Once we allow the weak self to dominate, this is where we go. We spiral down into depression, clinical depression, which I was in twice. Had to take medication to keep myself safe. Took a lot of courage to ask for help, especially for men, to say I'm weak right now. I'm just not. I think I'm gonna hurt myself. I'm suffering from many things: bad divorce, business loss, 1996, lost it all, devastated, and I gave up almost. I did give up. I'm lucky to be here, and I'm not proud of what I did. And then in 2010, after my stepdaughter at 16 suffered from a car accident as a passenger, almost died, and suffers with a traumatic brain injury, just devastated the family. And by 2010, I was lost. But I knew to reach out for help, and it probably would save me the second time. But I had the attempt, and I don't like to talk about my attempts because I don't want to trigger anybody. But the courage, as I lost that courage to keep fighting, and what it took to regain it, and staying in bed for 10 months, 8 months, all the time I was in bed. And I said to myself, nobody's going to do this for you, Dan. Your wife's begging you to get out of bed, and you're putting the covers over your head saying, no, leave me alone, don't bother me. I want to suffer. Because when we get into this cycle of suffering, it's a vicious cycle that can bring us into a suicide attempt. And we have to reach out for help. We have to tell somebody close to us, I need help. And we ourselves need to look at family, friends, co-workers. I even see people on the street, hey, you doing okay? You all right? And, strangers. You can almost tell when someone's in a suffering state. And then a lot of people hide it very well. So it's really tricky, and not that, I've lost people, that I've helped. You're not going to save everybody, but I've helped a lot of people since I went public in 2016. And believe me, it took a lot to overcome the shame and the stigma. I was just mortified that I was going to try to hurt myself. Big, you're strong, you're strong, you're tough. Has nothing to do with it. Has nothing to do with toughness. Suicide is a suffering act. It's not a selfish act. The suffering becomes so deep, you're not thinking about you're going to leave people behind hurting. You give that thought, you're writing notes, you might be saying, I'm sorry, go live a life, and, I just want to get out of this pain. It's all about the pain. So it's definitely not a selfish act. It's a painful act, suffering act. You're in a psychotic state, you're irrational. You think this will end my problems? They're only temporary problems, whether how bad they are, even illness. I don't agree with assisted suicide, even in illness. Even if I got cancer, if I had something really bad in illness, I'm going to live out my life to the very last breath, especially as a Buddhist now for 15 years, 16 years now, practicing. This is our karma. We want to make sure that when we go into our next life, whether you're a God believer or a Buddhist, whatever it is, that, you want to be able to say, I'm still fighting. I'm still fighting. I'm not going to give up again. I made that determination after my second attempt. I said, that's it. I'm not going back. I'm not going back ever. And I don't plan on going back a third time. And yeah, I'm med free now since 2011, but it wasn't like I didn't it took a lot of courage to say I needed help and I need to get on medication because I wanted to keep myself safe. I don't want to hurt myself. And it took me 6 years to go public. The shame and the stigma that I was suffering with, I just couldn't overcome it. And then I made my first video in 2016, and here I am 8 years later, helping a lot of people. It's a mission for me. You know, I don't make a fortune, and I self-fund. I try to raise some money so I can keep sponsoring myself. I'm just selling life. I want people to choose life and be able to recover. And you can recover, but the times that I lost my courage and I became so weak and I didn't want to fight anymore, and then one day I said, you know, I got to get out of bed. I have to get out of bed. If I don't get out of bed, nobody's going to do this for me. Nobody's going to pull me out of this bed. Although I got a great brother in Florida on my first time in 1996, and he said a great line that my dad used to say too, and I was saying it to him, and he has a detail shop in Florida, and very, you know, if you ever hurt, and this is the guy you want to go with and you know, motivate you. So I was hurting one morning. It's just a little bit of a tidbit besides all the seriousness, and I was suffering really bad. I told him, I don't want to get out of bed. I don't want to go to work with you. And he was like 6 a.m. I thought I was in a Western with him, and he stood at the doorway. He says, look it, you want to suffer at night about the girl? You want to suffer? You can suffer, but you got to come to work. And I'm like, why? And he looked at me, and he goes, you got to keep moving. And I use that now, that you got to keep moving. And I'm always so grateful for him that he was there for me. Although he couldn't stop me from hurting myself, he was still a very important support mechanism in the family. We have to find support somewhere, whether it's through a therapist, which I was going to, and I went through a few of them until I found one that we connected well together. But you got to keep moving. You got to get out of bed. So the day I said to myself, I got to get up, I got to get out of bed, especially on the second attempt after my stepdaughter almost got killed in 2007, and I really lost it all by 2010 and stayed in bed for 8 months. I knew that I got to get a short list going, man. I can't get out of my own way. So I get up, I wash my body, because you don't want to smell sitting there. You know, you're looking at yourself, you're smelling yourself going, this ain't good. So I get up and wash every day. I walked a little bit. I ate a little bit. That was it. Then I added reading, walking a little further, but then going back to bed right after the first short list I was doing. And I really, you know, promote this short list. It's very important you stay focused to regain that serenity that you're okay, you're still alive, and you're going to be okay. And then it was, you know, watching a little TV, sitting with family, you know, and everybody's looking at you like, oh, he's so sickly. But the more I kept doing the short list, and it took courage. I said, man, I got to do now. I got to do more. So I said, you know, I'm going to go to a recovery program that a therapist recommended. I said, no, that's a good idea. 6 months, I drove myself there. I was with people a lot worse off than me. I made a lot of good friends, and I still know some of them today that have survived. But when I went there, I was physically depleted, because it has nothing to do about strength and how tough you are. I was so depleted, and I lost so much weight, and I was just so weak, my body. And it was up on the 5th or 6th floor, and there was stairs and an elevator. So everybody's waiting for the elevator, and I looked at the stairs, and the courage was coming back finally, and I said, I'm going to walk these stairs. I'm going to not take the elevator. But you know, the first time I tried to walk up those stairs, I only got about 10 steps, 10 or 12 steps. I couldn't go any further. I was that physically ravaged. walking like there was a black cloud over me. It's just unreal. And I said, okay, I just got to keep doing this. So I try to go 12 steps. Then I go back and take the elevator. Then I went 2 flights. I had to go back down because I couldn't get up to this stairs. And eventually, after 6 months, and all the people were wonderful there helping me, a lot of courage. I seen, you think there's courage out there, and warriors. These were warriors, man. These people were warriors, and they were sickly and some worse off than me. And I said, these are warriors, man. Fighting this battle is not easy. So after 6 months, eventually, I ended up walking. Didn't take the elevator and walked up the whole 6 flights. And I was starting to get healthy again. I was starting to feel strong again. Starting to get my physical health back. I was eating right. I stopped drinking. I wasn't a big drinker anyway, but no drinking, especially on medication. You can't be drinking if you're taking any kind of medication under a doctor's. I'm not a doctor. I'm not a therapist. I'm an inspirational speaker. But you need a doctor. Sometimes doctors and therapists are beneficial. There's good ones, there's bad ones. But they understand, and they understand what you need to stay on, what you need to wean off, get a balance going, how you're feeling, how you're communicating. So I recommend it. And, you just need to do this, especially if you're thinking about hurting yourself. You matter. You're worthy. And when I started regaining my self-worth, going, okay, I lost everything, okay, this tragedy happened. And some tragedies happen to people and they never go down the road of depression. But we're not all built the same way. But we shouldn't be victimized. There should be the stigma on us that, shame on you, or you're a coward, or you did this, or you did that. It has nothing to do with it. Like I said, it's a suffering act, not a selfish act. When the suffering's like an 800-pound gorilla on your back and you just can't do it anymore. And this is how we've lost the people. All these people, they have families too, they have friends and all of it. And it gets to the point where they give up. But I want to tell you, don't give up. You have another chance. You can recover, and I'm living a whole nother life. I still do my real estate. I'm a broker in 4 states. I have 10 people working for me. I self-fund this mission. This mission is more in my heart. Real estate's always been in my heart, helping people find homes and do anything. But this mission goes deep because I've experienced it. And to put that out, I'm in the process of writing my own book, Suicide, the Unbiased Robber of Life. And I'm almost finished with it, and it's going to be written, and it's going to be published. And it's going to be about my life and what brought me from success to failure to attempts, and all of it in between, and what it took from my experiences to learn how to care for myself, how to love myself. And you need to do the same. You need to care for yourself, you need to love yourself. And you need to show that first I have to take care of me. And not that I'm failing other people all the time, but we have our failures, we have our successes, but you have to take care of yourself first before you can help anybody else. How are you going to help anybody if you're sickly? You're not going to be able to help anybody. But we take all this weight on us about, I got to do it all, especially the men and even the women take on all these responsibilities. Take time for yourself. Tell them no. Draw some boundary lines. One thing about helping people and one thing about being taken advantage of, you have to draw lines and say, no, I don't want to do that. I need to live my life too, and I need to care for myself, love myself, physically, work out, do walking, eating right. There's so many things you can do to bring that brain health back. I'm living proof. You can do this. I know you can do this. Because I was in the worst state than anybody could ever be in when I bottomed out. And I hit that dark moment. It's a wretched place to be. You never want to hit that moment where you say, I don't want to be here no more. And whether you're suffering from illness or not, I mean, brain health can be a serious illness where you think you have all these illnesses going on at once and you want to end it. But I said, never again, never going back a third time. Choose life, stay determined, do the short list, because the short list was short and now my list is very long. And I'm doing many things, and I have to watch when I'm getting down and there's too much going on, too much pressure, to just take a moment to go in nature and walk and just get some serenity back. Because when you get the serenity, because there's a certain amount of courage that occurs, you think you had courage before. Now you know you have you can really be courageous like a lion and a lioness, and say, no, not today, devilish functions. You know, not today, not tomorrow either. You're not going to nip at my heels, and you're not going to take me like you've taken other people. No way. Because I'm a lion. And I'm a practicing Buddhist now 16 years, and the devilish functions, they might affect people around me because they're trying to break me. But personally, towards me, bring it. Bring it, because I'm ready. I'm ready every day I wake up with determination to say, you know what? Not today, not tomorrow, not any day that you're going to nip at my heels and take me down that road ever again. And I'm going to help people not go down that road either. And I'm going to help you, because you matter. In your life matters. I'm going to end with my Buddhist prayer like I do on every video that I do, for you, your loved ones, your friends, your co-workers, everybody that's fighting this battle, because life can be tough. It can be very good too, but life can be a battle, and you've got to be a warrior. So I'm going to leave you with my prayer. Nam-myoho Renge Kyo, for your good health, your protection, your wisdom, your courage, your determination, your mission, your happiness, your family, your good fortune, hope, courage, and total victory. I'm Dan Pelley, inspirational speaker, and I'll see you on the next video.